Ma'an yirbu yemechem v'imei b'nechem al ha'adama asher nishba Hashem lavotechem latet lahem. A man once came to the holy Baba of a Rebbe, Reb Ben Zion Halberstam Zeches Tzadik Livracha, for a beracha on behalf of his family, and of course himself. As the conversation unfolded, the Rebbe inquired about his well-being, both in his spiritual and material aspects of his life. During this exchange, the Rebbe discovered that one of his sons was pursuing the study of science at the university. The Rebbe inquired, "And why did you send him to the university and not to yeshiva?" Rebbe the man said with a smile, "If my son does well and gets his doctorate, he'll be able to land a fine job and support me for the rest of my life until 120. Without hesitation, the Rebbe responded, "And who will support you after 120? In life's journey, the path ahead seems clear, but often our choices cloud our vision. When the Chazon Ish, Rebbe Ephraim Yeshaya Karelitz, lived in Vilna, he formed a bond with a Hasidic Bachur who originally attended the local public school, the Gymnasia. The young man, a brilliant and creative thinker, learned with the Chazon Ish for 4 consecutive years. Rebbe Avram Yeshaya admired how far this Talmid had come, and it exceeded all of his expected norms for someone his age, so much so that when the Chazon Ish wrote his Sefer on Masechet Zevachim, this Talmid, this Havruta, worked on it with him. Fascinating. He even added a few important he'arot, which the Chazon Ish included in the Sefer. At the outset, the outbreak of World War II, however, the young man fell in hard times, ultimately finding himself in communist Russia, and after suffering through the war, he drifted away from his Jewish roots. A disgraceful fall from the era where he once had the zechut, the privilege, of learning one of the most brilliant minds of the generation. In time, the gifted refugee began to rise in the ranks of the Russian government, receiving promotion after promotion until ultimately he became a diplomat. First, serving as an advisor at the Russian Foreign Embassy, then as Russia's ambassador in other countries. Many years later, a prestigious-looking limousine pulled up to the Chazon Ish's building in Bnei Brak, where he had been living since before World War II. Out of the elegant vehicle emerged a distinguished gentleman, dressed impeccably and carrying himself with a regal aura, not the typical visitor going to the Chazon Ish. After knocking on the door, he requested a private audience with the Gadol Hador. When the Chazon Ish came to the door, he instantly recognized his guest as the Talmid, the Bachur he had learned with years earlier. He brought him close. They embraced and they kissed one another. Once invited in, the two spent 90 minutes, an hour and a half together in private conversation, with no one entering and no one disturbing. Once the meeting reached its conclusion, the ambassador emerged with his face flushed, eyes swollen and bloodshot from copious tears. He did his best to control himself. He rinsed his face. He wished his Rebbe a heartfelt goodbye. Rebbetzin Miriam Kanievsky, wife of the holy Steipler Gaon and the Chazon Ish's sister, who lived in the house at the time, noticed the man's emotional state, and by way of expressing her concern to her brother, she asked, "Who is that man? And what was wrong?" "You don't recognize him?" her brother asked. "He was my Talmid from Vilna, the one who helped me on my Sefer on Zevachim." Noticeably pained, the Chazon Ish continued, "I had no idea how far removed from Yiddishkeit he was, and so much so that he married a Goya and his children are Goyim as well. After realizing he has literally committed kol davar asur, every transgression in the Torah, he wants to make teshuvah. Yet I know that if he returns to Russia, there's no doubt that he will return to his decadent lifestyle. My advice was for him to remain here in Israel, yet he insists he must return. He has a family and he holds a prominent position in the Russian government." With overwhelming anguish and sorrow in his voice, the Chazon Ish went on to say, tragically, he feels it would be better if he were to die rather than return home. While speaking deliberately with his words carrying enormous consequences, the Chazon Ish asked his Talmid, "Do you want me to daven, to pray for you to die?" The Bachur's silence spoke volumes, and I understood from his unspoken request this was precisely what he wanted. Oi! The Chazon Ish lamented. His entire essence is shattered. Just 2 days later, an airplane traveling from Israel to Turkey was involved in a devastating crash, leaving no survivors. Among those who perished was the Chazon Ish's Talmud, the prestigious Russian ambassador who had just come from visiting his Rebbe in Israel. Upon receiving the news, the Chazon Ish was visibly shaken and was heard later saying the following words: "He died with Hirhurei Teshuvah. He died with Hirhurei Teshuvah." As the threads of life intertwine, some we wish weren't there, leaving us burdened with regret. Yet don't despair, for Teshuvah, repentance, is a divine gift, a gift and a chance to mend the very fabric of our existence. Kudsha Barichu's loving embrace eagerly awaits our return, standing ready to cleanse our hearts of mistaken actions. And with just 13 days to Rosh Chodesh Elul, the countdown symbolizes hope and renewal and unwavering faith in the Almighty above. We as Am Yisrael must seize this precious opportunity. Let the beauty of Teshuvah guide us to a life adorned with Kiddusha and Beracha. Teshuvah is easy. Try it. Shabbat Shalom u'Mevorach.